Hi, everyone. I'm Andrew Fazekas, the Night Sky Guy, your host for the Night Sky This Week webcast. Thanks so much for joining me for the first show in 2023. Here we are. Happy New Year to wherever you are around the world. I'm hoping that you will have a healthy, happy, prosperous new year. Let's hope that this 2023 is going to be better than 2022 was. And in the night sky, there's a lot of things happening in astronomy and space news in general. 2023 is going to be a very busy year, a lot of interesting things. And I'll be keeping you informed on all of that, guiding you every week on some of the cool things that you can see no matter where you live, depending on, doesn't matter if you have a telescope, a binoculars, or just your eyes. Maybe you're stuck in the city. Maybe you're in an apartment building and you have only views out your terrace or a balcony or just your bedroom window. That's okay too. Or maybe you do go out to a country cottage and you have dark skies. We all have very different sky conditions, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. You can still do stargazing wherever you are around the world. So thanks for joining me. If this is your first time here, I'm the Night Sky Guy, Andrew Fazekas. I work full-time as an astronomy communicator and love it. I've written some books on astronomy, stargazing. I work with different clients like National Geographic, Astronomers Without Borders, and in the past, many other international publications and other multimedia outlets. And I just love to share my passion for the night sky. I've been doing it for most of my life. I am an avid observer. I go out most clear nights that I can from where I am here in Montreal, Canada, on the outskirts of this large city. I'm pretty lucky. I can actually see the Milky Way from where I am. So it's wonderful. And I have a collection of telescopes that I use, but actually I'm mostly lately doing a lot of binocular and naked eye observing. I really do enjoy it. It's simple, it's fast, and you don't need a lot of preparation work for it. Just a good guide and a little bit of planning, and it goes a long way. So why don't we jump in right now? I've got the comments open. Love seeing you guys. Let me know where you guys are watching from. And here we go. Let's jump in to see what the planetarium settings here are for Tuesday, January 3rd. I'm usually on Monday, but because of the holidays, today's January 3rd, Tuesday, that we're recording this. And we have the night sky set up for Tuesday night. Now, what this week is, there's a few things, but first off, right away, if you're watching this on Tuesday and it's going to be night, prepare to see the near full moon with a fairly bright planet, a neighboring planet called Mars. We've all heard of Mars, of course, a lot of exploration. It's one of the nearest planets to us. It's distinctly orange in color, and it's going to be pairing with the near full moon Tuesday, January 3rd. So this is something that is really worth checking out because it is quite eye-catching. It's something that is easily visible to the naked eye. You do not need telescopes or binoculars to see this, as you see it here depicted on this view here through my planetarium program. There's the moon. It's heading towards a full moon later this Thursday. That would be January 5th. But now on January 3rd, the moon is positioned right next door to Mars. Now, of course, this is an optical illusion. Mars is at quite a distance from us. If I take a look at what the info says on how far away, Mars is currently 98 million kilometers away from Earth, our planet, and thus it takes just under 6 minutes, 5.5 minutes actually, for the light to reach your eye. So when you're looking at Mars tonight, just think it takes 5.5 minutes for that beam of light from that place, that red planet, to reach our eye. It's quite something, and it's easy to just see. It's incredible. Now, if you have binoculars, the view gets more impressive, of course. This is kind of a representation of what you would see through an average pair of binoculars, pointing at this beautiful pairing tonight. Definitely you'll see that orange distinctive color of Mars. And look at that waxing gibbous moon. Really impressive. Definitely worth looking at. So that's a great pairing. It'll be rising in the east. As soon as darkness falls, you'll be able to see it. And I have a challenge for you. How soon after sunset can you see Mars next to the moon? When will Mars pop into view? You may need binoculars to see it at first before the naked eye, just to track it down, just to identify its exact location next to the moon. But Mars should come into view as that darkness sets in tonight, very shortly, half hour, 20 minutes after sunset. I'm curious to know, maybe you might be able to even see it before the sun sets. Now, this is the sunset view for at the 45th degree latitude, but where I am in Montreal, Canada, I'm halfway between the equator and the North Pole. This is the view, but it doesn't matter. Wherever you are around the world, if you can see the moon tonight, you should be able to see Mars very close to our moon. Beautiful pairing. Remember, the moon is only 400,000 kilometers away, while Mars is 98 million kilometers away. Vast difference, yet they look like they're paired in our sky. Now, if we fast forward to tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Wednesday, January 4th, you'll see the moon and Mars have separated quite a bit. So this is the view that you'll get on Wednesday night this week, again after sunset. So if you're clouded out tonight, unfortunately, and you can't see that pairing, this is something that will be visible to you on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, January 5th, the moon is at its full phase. So it's called the wolf moon, January's full moon. If you're wondering what its moniker is, it's known traditionally, especially in North American indigenous culture. That's where it originates from. The wolf moon. This is when, of course, the wolves are howling and at night, in these chilly nights that exist in the northern hemisphere this time of the year. But that wolf full moon will be on Thursday. It officially reaches full phase at 6:08 p.m. Eastern time. That's North American Eastern time. At 6:08, you can do your calculation into universal time or your local time. From that would be, I think it would be, 18? So that would be 2300 universal time on Thursday, January 5th. That is the official time for the full phase to happen. But you'll see it earlier in the day, later in Friday morning as well. It'll look pretty close to full. Even tonight on Tuesday, it's quite, visually, if you quickly look at it, it looks almost full. So that is the view. And if I widen the view here a little bit, look at there's other planets that are visible. They look like very bright dots in the sky. Jupiter is pinning down the south. This is again just after sunset, and maybe a half hour after sunset. And look, there's Saturn, and there is Venus. Look at that lineup of worlds all there together. Now, if I just make it a little bit darker, just get it nice and dark, I want you to see that theoretically, now I don't expect all of you guys, especially if you're a casual sky watcher and you don't have telescopes or binoculars and you haven't had much practice, you probably won't get to see all of these planets. But all 7 major planets, because I'm excluding, we live on one, Earth, but our neighboring worlds, all 7 major planets, and we're not including Pluto anymore in the new scheme of major planets. It's called a minor planet, a dwarf planet to be exact. That's what Pluto is. So it lost that status. I know it's very controversial, but these other planets, like Mars, you can see from the moon. This is January 5th, but it doesn't matter. Any time this week, you'll be able to see the moon, Mars, planet Uranus. Then you have Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn, and Venus, and even Mercury. But Mercury is just at sunset. It's probably lost in the glare. It is. So you won't be able to see it. So scratch that. 6 planets that you'll see. 1, 2, 3. There's the Neptune there. I just had 4, 5, 6. So you'll see all 6 now. Mercury is probably out of the picture at this point, but you'll be able to see those worlds kind of lined up on a magical pathway of planets. It's called the ecliptic, and it stretches from the east to the southwest in our skies. But all of these planets, if you have the right equipment, you can view all of them at the same time, in the same evening, in the same sitting outside. You can be watching for Venus just after, in the southwest, just after sunset, turning your attention to, as sky darkens, to Saturn with its rings. With the telescope, it looks really good. Neptune is very faint. It looks like a faint blue dot, and you do need probably very strong binoculars. If not, better is a small telescope to find that blue dot. Next to Jupiter, which is easy to see with the naked eye. You don't need telescopes and binoculars to see Jupiter. Or Saturn is visible both with the naked eye. But if you want to see the rings of Saturn, you need a telescope. You want to see the moons of Jupiter, you want to get binoculars. If you want to see the atmospheric features on Jupiter, like the cloud bands, you need a small telescope. I'm zooming in here, and you can see the moons of Jupiter. Those are visible with binoculars. And these bands, if you look carefully, you see I'm kind of showing them. Those are actually atmospheric features, clouds on Jupiter. You want to have a small telescope to really bring that out. But with binoculars, you'll be able to see some of these major moons of Jupiter with binoculars. Easy stuff. Again, all on one night. Any of these nights this week, it's great. Clear night, you'll see that. Uranus is visible with binoculars. Theoretically, with the naked eye, if you have very, very, very dark skies, it's magnitude 5.8, and so it's on the limit of our vision, of human vision. So most of us forget it. You won't see it with the naked eye. You need binoculars or a small telescope. But binoculars should be able to show you this green dot. I'll post the sky chart for you on my timelines on my social channels, so you can use them as a guidepost to tracking these worlds down. Uranus will be more of a challenge, I think, for most of you. But Mars, again, something really easy to see, naked eye, orange color. Look for that distinctive color, really, really amazing. And so it's this line of planets. That's because if I would magically go above the plane of the solar system, look, I'm going to use my planetarium to show you this, because I think it's really impressive to see. I can see we had a question of which telescope do you use. A small telescope. Recommendations for telescope, that's hard to do. I can't really do it on a show like this, but I really like Dobsonian type of telescopes. You could look those up. These are mirror-based telescopes, because you get a larger size telescope for a more modest price tag. You get more telescope for your money, basically. Dobsonians, they're bigger, they're heavier, but they are really amazing equipment. If you want something a little bit more lightweight, maybe a starter refractor telescopes, and good manufacturers are like Celestron, Meade, Skywatcher, Orion. These are established manufacturers that you can look up on Google, and you can be rest assured that those are better quality telescopes for all of you. Happy New Year to all of you guys out there again. Thanks for joining. And here we see Mars from space, but what I want to show you is where all the planets are in relation to each other if we were in space and we looked at this, and why they appear where they do in the sky, that lineup of planets that I'm showing you. Here's the lineup. If we could magically go from above the plane of the solar system, I want you to look. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more so you can see where Neptune is, where's Uranus, there's Jupiter, there's Saturn. And if we look very closely at the inner solar system, this is where Earth is. You see that? There's Earth, there's Mars. So if you look up into the sky from our vantage point, what are you going to see? From Earth, you'll see Mars over here, and you'll see Venus right close to the sun. See how where Venus is? Very close from our vantage point. Venus is very close to where the sun is. Remember, you're on Earth looking at all this. And what's the farthest planet? If you remember back to that image that I showed you in the sky, Mars is almost on the opposite side, right, of the sky from where the sun is, and Venus. So there's Mars, farthest away from Earth. You see, from our vantage point, from the sun is on the opposite side of our view. See where Earth is, and the sun is Mars. And then there's Jupiter, right? And there's Saturn, right? And if we zoom out, you'll see where Uranus and Neptune fit in as well. You see that? So if we go back magically, keep that in mind. There's Mars, there's the sun, there's Venus, and all the other planets. Now, if we go back to the sky view, magically, look at that. You see how that Mars is all the way almost at the opposite side where Venus is, right? I hope that makes sense a little bit. It's trying to get you oriented in terms of where our planet is, our home planet, that where we look up into the sky from the ground on the surface of our world, and we see all these other neighboring worlds, all splayed out in front of us, why they look the way they do, where they are positioned. It really is incredible that it makes sense why they are where they are, because this is our home neighborhood, solar neighborhood, and we're all moving around the sun in our orbits. And look, all of those planets are. So this is really special. I would highly recommend. This is a great learning opportunity too. So if you're maybe a homeschooler or you have kids that you like to connect with in terms of science, or pointing them to an idea of understanding the celestial mechanics of the orbits of the planets, and showing them this in the sky is, I think, a fantastic opportunity. Even if you don't have a telescope or binoculars, you can still see Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, and Mars, and of course the moon as well this week. It's a great opportunity. So check that out. Now, what else is visible in the sky this week? Now, I wanted to point this out because I thought it was really, really cool. On Thursday, let's see if we can go and make it darker and later in night. So let's say you wait until around 10 o'clock at night. You look towards the east, southeast, and you'll see the moon in the center almost. And this could be on Wednesday night as well. So it could be either January 4th or January 5th. I'm going to see if I can put this into January 4th. So this is Wednesday night. The moon, the near full moon, is going to be at the center of this really brilliant kind of crown or circular formation of super bright stars. And if you're just about starting to learn your way around the night sky, the winter sky in the northern hemisphere, or the southern sky, for those of you in the southern hemisphere, this area of your sky is filled with stars, and it's a great place to start learning about the night sky for this season, because you have these bright constellations, the brightest in fact, probably the brightest group of stars in any part of the sky, no matter where you are on planet Earth. It has the best collection of those bright stars. So it's a perfect place to begin learning about the night sky. So the moon is going to be smack in the middle on Wednesday night, January 4th, of this collection of stars. And it forms what's called the winter winter hexagon. Let me show you. If I can, there you can see in kind of a reddish, fainter reddish formation of the winter hexagon. So each of these sides have two stars that are really bright. So if we start at the top of the hexagon, you'll see that's Capella. It's a bright yellow star. It'll be, again, the moon is kind of in the middle of this formation. Then you have Mars is there, but that's not the star that I want you to. You'll have another kind of yellowish orange star next to it. That's Aldebaran, another part of the winter hexagon. Then you move down the sky in Rigel, part of the constellation Orion. Then you go down here, just about rising around 10 o'clock, is Sirius, the brightest star in constellation Canis Major, the great dog. So that's really cool down there. Easy to see. Brightest star in the entire night sky for anywhere where you are around planet Earth. That is the brightest star. Then there's Procyon in the constellation Canis Minor. And then we have Gemini twins marked by Castor and Pollux. These two stars are the brightest stars that represent the heads of the Gemini twins, and they are another kind of part of the winter hexagon. Then you go back up, finally back to Capella up here. So I'm going to show this, put this into my timeline on my post on all my social media, this sky chart. So you could go out this week, and again, this group of stars are basically right now going higher and higher in our skies in the coming weeks and months. So you have plenty of time to look for it. But what's cool tonight, I should say Wednesday night, January 4th, and Thursday, January 5th, is that the moon is in the middle of this formation. Now, it's a bright moon. It's glaring, I know, but if you cover it with your thumb, you should be able to see all those bright stars. Again, this is now for Thursday. I have the moon, you see, it's kind of moved over. By Friday, look at this. The moon forms a really neat triangular formation with Castor and Pollux, a really neat group, a triangular formation of these three objects. So check that out. Again, this is happening on Friday, January 6th. So I think that's really a cool grouping. And to see the winter hexagon, you have plenty of time, but the moon is fun to have inside it. And if you've never seen it before, it's an easy way for you to kind of zero in on this part of the sky. So check that out. Now, what else is happening? I did not want to forget, because tonight, as we're recording, January 3rd, Tuesday night into January 4th, is the annual quadrantid meteor shower. That's a mouthful, I know. I like to call it the New Year's meteor shower. It's one of the best meteor showers of the year, and it's peaking tonight. So let me just put this into the system, and I'm going to show you where to look and how to look for it. So again, this is, if you're watching this on Tuesday, you're in luck, because this is when this meteor shower is going to be peaking for us. As you can see, let me see if I can get this going. Put this for, there we go. So you're going to be seeing this. You're looking towards, the best place is to look towards the north. That's where the radiant of the shower is. The radiant is kind of near, just off to the side of the Big Dipper. And you can see the Big Dipper here in the north, right there. The North Star is up here. The Big Dipper is here. There's the Little Dipper, the rest of the, just off of Polaris, the North Star. But just in that area of the sky is where this meteor shower radiates out from. And it's named after an ancient constellation that was there before, but got rubbed out by professional astronomers, and it still retains the old name. The quadrantid meteor shower, expect anywhere from 30 to 120 shooting stars per hour. I know it's a lot. You probably never heard of the shower, and you're wondering why. It's because it's during wintertime in the northern hemisphere, and most sky charts and guides that you see put out by astronomers are heavy centric to they're biased towards the northern hemisphere. And because traditionally over the past decades and centuries, people don't go out, have not gone out before sky watching in the dead of winter in the northern hemisphere. And so this has kind of been missed. Up until the last decade or two, we've been kind of getting more information about this and pointing people like you guys to go out and look for this. So the quadrantid meteor shower, which I call the New Year's shower, is worth looking for. So if you've got some time, I would definitely make some time to look for this. Definitely, you'll see it. Of course, the moon, you can see if I just zoom down, there's the near full moon. Unfortunately, you will have to contend with it. So the numbers of meteors that you'll see will be less than what you would have if the moon wasn't in the sky. This year, we do have the near full moon, so expect to concentrate more on fireballs. Meteor showers are known to produce fireballs because there's so many of these little particles hitting the atmosphere of the Earth. There's tend to be a statistical chance of more of these larger stones hitting the atmosphere, which cause unusually bright meteors. We call those fireballs. So even if you're in the city, it's worth going out. If you've got clear skies tonight, January 3rd into Wednesday morning, again, the hours, you can see how the moon is moving in the skies. I would definitely recommend going out and checking out the meteor shower called the quadrantids throughout Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. You'll probably see some fireballs as well. randomly scattered throughout the hours. So check that out. I'll put a sky chart on that as well on my page. If you like all of this stuff, I mean, I've pointed you to so many different things. I know can be a little confusing. Make sure you check my timelines on whether you're watching on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. I'll be putting all of that there and on YouTube as well in my posts. So keep an eye out for those. Again, if you're interested in skywatching and you like these videos, please show your support by giving a thumbs up and also subscribing to my channel so you don't miss out on my next videos. And of course, I've also got some interesting books. If you're interested in getting a personally signed edition of my Backyard Guide to the Night Sky, this small soft cover that can fit into your knapsack and it's great for traveling if you want. Gives a great overview of all the constellations in the sky. I've got all sky charts, star hopping charts, guides to how to use a telescope, binoculars. It's a really great overview of the entire hobby of stargazing. I can sell, I'm selling actually signed copies personally. You can head over to my website, thenightskyguy.com, to get copies of those. I'll put a link to that right now, so make it easy. You can check it out, and I will get a copy to you of that. I'm also, I've got my newest book called The Stargazer's Atlas. This is a huge book. Again, 6.5 pounds. It is a guide to all of the sky and humanity's deep connection to it. So we explore astrotourism. I'm the lead author on this book, but we explore our group astrotourism, archaeoastronomy, all kinds of neat stuff. It's a large coffee table format, so it's not for traveling. It's really for, you know, curling up on the couch and learning about the night sky and planning what you'd like to see in the night sky. And it's all 88 constellations. It's not biased for the northern hemisphere. It's for both hemispheres, no matter where you are in the world. This is an amazing guide to have. I've got a link there for you. I'm signing copies of this, selling them through my website personally. So if you're interested, head on over, check out the information about that, see if you are interested. Phew, that's a lot of stuff. So thank you so much for joining me this week. I'll be back next week with more information. And until then, of course, I wish all of you clear skies. Bye-bye.